What's up, Joe Bros? Half a Jojo back here again. I primarily make a lot of videos about like health, fitness, and weight loss and everything like that. And I often make a lot of videos about health at every size and what I eat in a day, that type of thing. Today, we're going to be looking at some health at every size nonsense, all right? First off, before we get started, I want to say if you like this kind of content, if you like me and my content and everything like that, why not like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, leave a comment below. YouTube has been absolutely pegging me, the algorithm recently. What did he say? Just not really getting the views that I was getting before. So I'd really appreciate it if you did all the YouTube stuff and everything like that. But anyway, without any further ado, we're gonna get into our first couple of clips. I've got a few clips lined up. I haven't watched them yet. So we're going to react to them live and go through them, see whether we agree or disagree. We're most likely going to disagree, let's be honest. It's haze nonsense, right? Okay. Okay, so we have one here from our favorite creator ever, JBay. You don't know, there's some insane lore behind this person. I made a video reacting to the body cam footage a couple weeks ago. It was pretty insane. But anyway, we have a video here. We're in a response to a comment that says, or get healthy and lose weight, which is, pretty fucking true, right? Because, I mean, it's not normal being this size. It's not healthy for you. So anyway, it reads, look at all this world has to offer. I'm here to experience it, and so should people of every size. Read the caption. Why am I just lose weight isn't the answer. So let's see what this video is first of all. So we just got it twirling around and showing off whatever the fuck we got going on here. Okay. Fair enough. So let's read the caption, shall we? Okay, so the response, just lose weight? Nah. When people say just lose weight, they ignore many factors that affect people's health and well-being, such as what? Being overweight naturally and genuinely affects your health and well-being. Let's be fucking honest. Losing weight is not going to do you any detriment unless you're already underweight. So weight loss isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. It pretty much is a one-size-fits-all solution. Anything that could go wrong and has gone wrong with you can be alleviated or made slightly better by losing weight, regardless of what disability or anything else you've got. It makes shit easier, okay? It's not just calories in and calories out. Yes, it is. It is calories in and calories out. As much as we like to say it isn't, it very much is just calories in, calories out. It's all about how much you consume versus how much you put out there. And even then, it's more to do with how much your calories are in rather than how much calories you're putting out, because you can only output so many calories, right? So that's why they say like 80% of weight loss is made in the kitchen, because most of the fucking weight loss you're going to be having is not through exercise, it's mainly through diet. So I will say that it is more the calories in that is the issue for a lot of fucking people. Okay, it's not necessarily that they're not exercising enough, because there are plenty of people that exercise a lot but they eat way too much and they're still overweight. Okay, I've been there myself. When I first started working out, I was still obese and I wasn't really dieting properly, and then eventually I started cutting down my calories, and then I started losing weight. It's about access to care, mental health, genetics, and so much more. Okay, I can understand that mental health has a lot to play with weight loss and everything like that. I've been there. I've definitely been a bit depressed, and it's made me not want to lock in and lose weight and everything like that. If anything, it's made me gain weight. And care, I don't know what you necessarily mean by care, because surely you should care for yourself. If you're a fucking adult that doesn't need any extra care or anything like that, surely. Genetics don't play that much into it at all, unless you have some super rare like Cushing's disease or fucking Will Turner's, whatever the fuck it's called. I meant Prada Willies, but you get what I mean. Check out my fucking Dragon Ball. Back to the fucking video. You're not going to have any issues when it comes to genetics and when it comes to weight loss and everything like that. That's very much a cope. Even if you do have like more likely a chance of storing fat cells and everything like that due to your genetics, your family's history, blah blah blah, you can still very much lose weight. Like me myself, a lot of my family history, very overweight. Okay, we gain weight very easily. It pretty much is in our genes to kind of hold fat cells more than, I guess, your average fucking person. Well, actually, your average person is overweight nowadays, but you get what I mean. So I will say there is definitely some things out there that make it harder. 100%. There are some genetic factors, some diseases, disabilities, stuff like that make it harder, but it doesn't make it impossible. You can still push through it and you can still lose the weight. So one person losing weight won't change the system that profits off our insecurities. Okay, we're just going to blame the system for the fact that we're morbidly obese. We're not going to take any personal accountability for our fact that we've gotten this size or anything like that. We're just going to blame everything else. And yes, I will say a lot of fast food industries and stuff like that do have a lot to blame with it, where they're pushing down food down our throat and, you know, misadvertising and everything like that. You know, the fact that cereal brands are still marketing as like, oh, the best way to start your day and everything like that when they're fucking not. Yeah, I get it. They do have a lot to blame. But at the same time, you got to take some personal accountability and realize, oh, okay, if I do a bit of fucking research for myself, I'd realize that these things, maybe I shouldn't eat so much. That's why I fight for fat liberation and better policies for all plus size people and healthcare to travel. Okay, like when it comes to healthcare and obese people, you know, I live in a country where healthcare is pretty much free, right? You know, you pay for it with taxes, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I know people are going to come out and say that. And I know she comes from a country that doesn't come, she comes from America. There's no free healthcare and everything like that. But the amount of money that the UK healthcare like spends every fucking year on morbidly obese and obese individuals is insane. I'm going to get the numbers up quickly here on the screen somewhere. It's pretty daunting. And this was probably figures from a few years ago. Every single fucking year it takes up so much, it drains so many resources and everything like that. Obesity, it takes up a lot of fucking resources that could be used elsewhere. It's time we stop reducing people to their body size and start listening to the real story. Okay, if I'm, you know, I'm not against that. We should probably listen to people, you know, because I mean, I will agree, especially when it comes to doctors and stuff. Some doctors are pretty dismissive when it comes to overweight people. They're like, oh, you know, a overweight person might come in and be like, oh, my fucking heart's playing up. And, you know, it very much could have something to do with the fact that they're morbidly obese or overweight or whatever. But a lot of doctors will just immediately dismiss it and be like, okay, lose weight and, you know, rather than looking into it properly. So I will say that, you know, there definitely is some people who don't listen to like the real story and everything like that. But I would say, however, for the most part, we do need to kind of, again, take responsibility for our own size and our own health and everything like that and realize that, you know, at the end of the day, it's probably more likely that things are going wrong with us because of our weight, and we shouldn't be blaming doctors or anything like that for telling us that we should lose weight, because it's very much true and your life will get so much easier if you were a normal healthy weight. I'm not saying you need to be a bodybuilder, I'm not saying you need to be a marathon runner. I'm just saying you need to be at a normal fucking low normal baseline body fat percentage. Even if you're slightly overweight, it don't fucking matter. Just not her size. You saw what she looked like. And in fact, in that body cam footage, she confirmed that she's 550 pounds, which is like 250 kilos, which is 100 kilos more than I ever was at my biggest size. And she's shorter than me and she's a woman. So that's like diabolical, right? The amount of issues she has from that, pretty insane. She has like, she's even on like oxygen and everything like that. Don't know about nowadays, but back then definitely. She got arrested, so she was in jail for a long time. I'm pretty sure she lost a little bit of weight, so she probably isn't on that shit anymore, but back then she was. So this isn't just about weight, it's about dignity, respect, and living a life free from oppression. You are not oppressed if you're overweight. The only thing that is oppressing you is yourself. You are very much putting yourself in a box and then blaming other people for it. A lot of, you've noticed this a lot with a lot of kind of health at every size, fat acceptance people and everything like that. They always like to constantly compare themselves to like different minority groups. They always compare themselves to like women's rights, civil rights, that type of shit. And they try and act out that they're oppressed and everything like that. And they try and latch on to these movements, being like, "Oh, we're just like you guys." It's like, no, you're not. You put yourself in that situation purposefully. I don't think slaves from like 100, 200 years ago, whenever it was, put themselves there purposefully. They were taken from their homes and were forced to do work. You ate yourself to this point, so you are not oppressed. You've done it to yourself, right? You know, and I do say, you know, at just a baseline human level, we probably should just respect everyone. You know, I mean, definitely people need to earn our respect. But when I say we should respect everyone, what I mean is don't be a piece of shit to someone just because of what they are or who they are. You know, we should at least hear them out and then make our opinions about them, if they're a shit person or not. And dignity, clearly she has no fucking dignity posting shit like this and getting herself arrested for trespassing and doing all sorts of insane shit. So I think that's gone out the fucking window, love, if I'm being for real. Okay. So yeah, we're not shrinking and neither should the world. I think we should. because again, it just inconvenient for not only yourselves but everyone else around you. She makes a lot of videos, or at least made a lot of videos, about going around the world traveling, getting in airplanes and stuff like that. And obviously, when you're big, you take up a lot of fucking room in the seats, and you have to pay for extra seats. And a lot of these people, they expect free extra seats and everything like that. And it's like, I'm not being funny, but if like a disabled person has to pay for a fucking seat over something they can't help, then why the fuck should you get a free seat when you're morbidly obese and you've eaten yourself to that point? I just don't think that's fair. So life is meant to be lived, and you don't have to lose weight before you start experiencing it. Yep, sure. Yeah, that's fine. But however, I will say if you want to live a much longer and healthier and more exciting fucking life, then I definitely would lose weight so you can experience it a lot fucking better. You know, I can't say you're going to go trekking up any mountains or anything like that and seeing all these crazy sights and everything if you could barely fucking walk up a set of stairs, or if you have to be wheeled around in a wheelchair because your knees are fucked from being so overweight for so long and everything like that. So definitely, again, it's just more convenient for you to lose the weight, right? It's comments and mindset like these that indicate why we need to keep fighting for change. You're not changing anything. You're just staying the fucking same. But again, nowadays, the majority of the population is in the overweight category, and a lot of them like think like, I can't remember the exact amount. Maybe like 24 or 14% of them are morbidly obese, or obese, and like a good, I don't know, 60% of them are just overweight, which is still concerning, you know. Sure, they could be only just barely touching the overweight category, but I've seen a lot of the way people eat nowadays. I don't think that it's just a little bit overweight. I think there's a lot of people that are very much overweight. But yeah, anyway, that was our first one. That was Jay Bay, just the absolute character herself. So that was the first one. We're going to get into another one because we spent a lot of time discussing that one because there's a lot to talk about there. There's a lot to unpack. All right, let's get into this one then, shall we? Let's see what she has to say or point out or anything to see if any points are made.
My Birkin.
Health for every size practice. Okay.
Another Birkin.
Weight normative health practice. No idea what the fuck that means.
But what makes these two Birkins different? And what small feature about them?
What large feature divides the dietetics and medical community? Hayes rejects weight stigma and aims to normalize a range of weight and sizes. See, the thing is, a lot of people will point out things like this and say, oh, it's just to get rid of the stigma and to point out that people are different. But the thing is, people don't actually use it like that, right? So that goes back to like the kind of body positivity movement, right? So it started because of people with like disabilities, disfigurements, and things like that. People generally things people can't help, and obviously also including people different sizes, people who are skinnier and people who are bigger and everything like that. But then you get people who have kind of molded that into the kind of health at every size movement type shit, and then it's just completely gone off the rails. And so to a point where people are trying to convince you that being morbidly obese is healthy and there's nothing wrong with it, and you're just cruel and mean and bigoted, and because you don't like obesity, that means you're racist and you're homophobic or something like that, apparently, which is not how it fucking works. You know, but yeah. So they claim it kind of tries to normalize or get rid of the stigma and everything like that. But a lot of the times people aren't preaching about shit like that, like at all. A lot of times people are just trying to convince people, oh, you should definitely let yourself get to a massive size and let nature run its course and, you know, potentially retire early, you know, to put it lightly, to censor it past YouTube, if you get what I mean. So a lot of these people kind of aren't actually using it in this way, and that's the issue. Getting rid of the stigma, fine. I don't have any problem with getting rid of the stigma. I don't think anyone should be like hated on or anything like that because of their size or whatever the fuck they are, skin color, blah blah blah, etc. etc. Normal shit, right? But I don't think it should be normalized either. This whole normalizing people of like big sizes and everything like that is ridiculous. I don't agree with it whatsoever, and I think it's unhealthy and is completely unfounded and just kind of a bit cruel, really. Also, they will say any size, any range, any size. But as soon as someone who is like really underweight comes along, someone who suffers with Anna, to, again, censor it past YouTube's bullshit, they will immediately point fingers at them and say, that's unhealthy, that's bad, you shouldn't be that size, you should put on some weight. Oh, you're gonna, again, retire early. But for some fucking reason, that's fine. We're not allowed to be skinny. If you're even slightly underweight or if you're even slightly at normal weight, you're skinny and need to eat a burger. But if you're morbidly fucking obese and you eat too much and you have a higher chance of retiring early, that's fine and that's empowerment. And you should definitely be doing that. And everyone should be doing that. And you should accept your body. But not if you're underweight. No, 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 no. That's unhealthy. But being fucking really big, that's really healthy, guys. And you should keep doing it. Like, you see what I mean? It's just hypocritical and I just think it's fucking wrong. I think both of them are really bad. We shouldn't encourage people to be underweight. We shouldn't encourage people to be overweight. What we should do is encourage people to be healthy, right? Encourage people to be muscular, fit, lean, whatever. Not even just lean. Like, lean is not for everyone. But fitness, health, and generally, just even if you're not like wanting to be an athlete or a bodybuilder, just a normal in between, like I said earlier.
Divides the Hermes collector community. Let's talk about it.
So yeah, like I said, getting rid of the stigma. I'm completely fine with getting rid of stigmas of like hating on overweight people and everything like that because we shouldn't hate people because of who what they are, whether they can control it or not control it. We should definitely say something about it, right? We should definitely be like, yeah, that's probably not a good thing, but don't like be a dickhead about it and hate on anyone because of it, right? But I am not with the normalization. I am not with like pushing the agenda that being this size is good and healthy and we shouldn't fucking let it get in our way of anything when it does get in our way of everything and everything like that. Like, I just don't agree with it. And I think it is very wrong to be kind of justifying and normalizing. Right, we've got another one here. So let's get into it. So she's here to talk about help it size trademark. Okay, let's see. I think this one might actually be a talking one.
So I'm here to talk about health at
Yeah,
every
it is.
size. The first, and I believe to be the most common misconception, is when people hear it as healthy at every size.
Sure. I guess that could be a common misconception, but based off from what I've seen, a lot of people in the health at every size movement do seem to kind of shout and moan and cry when people say, "Oh, that's not healthy." They're like, "Oh, how do you know what's healthy for my body or not?" That type of shit. So, yeah, you could say that's not what it is, but let's be honest. When people talk about health at every size, they mean healthy. You know, we've got people like Tess Holiday who are like, "Oh, I work out like twice a week, so I'm really healthy, guys, even though I'm like really fucking big and everything like that." So definitely you say that, but it's not necessarily practiced, right? You're preaching it, but you're not practicing what you're preaching, type shit.
It is imperative that we first understand that this framework is not saying that every single person at every single size is healthy. That's just not the case.
Again, it's referred to my previous point. A lot of people will say this, but then if you look at the people in the movement and everything like that, people who preach this kind of thing, they do fucking say that. Oh, how do you know I'm healthy or not based off my size and everything like that? So, maybe she is correct. Maybe that's not what it means. But the thing is, it's the difference between not what it means, like dictionary definition, and the way people are using it actively and everything like that, right? It kind of reminds me of like, I think it was the word awful, right? Back in the day, the word awful used to mean like something really fucking good, right? Full of awe. It was full of awe, so it was awful. But nowadays, you call something awful, that means it's fucking dog shit, right? It's like the dictionary definition changes and everything changes over time. This maybe was what the original movement meant to be, but obviously people aren't using it like that anymore.
This framework is evolved around 5 key principles, which I will explain in videos to come.
Should have explained it here, to be honest, but I think I've seen a previous video where I saw someone explain the principles and everything like that. I mean, sure, again, like I said, a lot of it doesn't seem all that bad on paper, but the way people were practicing it and preaching it is the exact fucking opposite of what they're saying.
So, the first principle to understand is that while not every single person is healthy at every single size, health can be attained at every.
See what I mean about like her saying, "Oh, actually, you've got a massive misconception," and then she goes on to say something that just means the exact same fucking thing, right? Yes, it is not fucking healthy, believe it or not, to be 500 pounds and to have a lot of issues with your joints and everything inside you. The classic point is people like this will bring up their blood works. They'll be like, "Oh, my blood sugar levels, they're fine, my hormones are fine, everything like that," not realizing the damage that they're doing to their knees, damage that they're doing to their lungs, to their heart, mental health issues and everything like that that's going wrong inside them, liver issues, all sorts of shit that's going on, bowel issues and things like that as well. So a lot of people will point out, oh, my blood work, my blood work. You see, I'm really healthy and I'm 500 pounds. You're not. You have a whole lot of things going wrong with you that you can't see surface level and that you can't really test for when it comes to blood works and everything like that. So yeah, she tried to say, oh, you guys are wrong about this. This is not what it means. But actually, this is what it means. I just completely don't agree with that at all.
Size. Quick reminder, health is not a moral obligation.
I would say in some ways it kind of is to yourself anyway, not to anyone else, but it's definitely an obligation to yourself. And yeah, I wouldn't say it's a moral thing. Sure, it's not a moral thing, but it's definitely something you should be obliged to give yourself to live longer and happier and healthier and everything like that. Because at the end of the day, you're really fucking big. You're not making it past a certain age. Let's be for real. You should definitely look after your health right now while you can. Yeah, so again, completely disagree with that fucking video. They say, oh, not everyone at every size is healthy, but people can become healthy at every size. I disagree. I think there are certainly people who are healthier at different sizes. For sure, there is one 500-pound person that is healthier than another 500-pound person. Maybe they eat a bit better, but they still eat too many calories and things like that. And maybe this person just lives off of junk food, but eats the same calories as person B or person A or whatever. But however, you're still very much the same weight. You're still 500 pounds. Yes, you might have things go wrong with you more when you got a shitter diet and you're eating more junk food and everything like that compared to the other person, but you're both still 500 pounds. There is still things going wrong inside person A that is going wrong inside person B, such as, again, joint issues, such as, again, your heart having to work overtime, your lungs working overtime, your liver working overtime, everything working overtime. The exact same thing is going wrong here, but this person here might have a likely chance of having things go wrong with them due to the food they're eating. You see what I mean? You're both going to have issues regardless, but person B is probably going to have more issues because they like shit compared to the person A, but the person A is still really big, so they're still going to have issues. Right, so I've got a final one here. Someone lifting weights and everything like that. We're going to see what they have to say when it comes to like health at every size and things like that. Because I think when it comes to a lot of like weightlifting and everything like that, a lot of people would be like, oh, I'm active, I'm in the gym, I lift weights and everything like that, and I'm a big size, I'm really healthy and everything like that. But lifting weights, believe it or not, guys, I love lifting weights, right? Everyone should be lifting weights. But when it comes down to your actual fucking health, muscle mass helps. When it comes down to the actual health, doing more things like cardio and everything like that is a better proof of like how healthy you are. Let's be honest. How much you can run, how much you can endure, stuff like that. It has a lot more kind of impact on your health markers than how much muscle mass you have. Because you believe it or not, if you have a lot of muscle mass, you can still be ridiculously unhealthy. There are a lot of strongmen powerlifters and stuff like that who have a fuck ton of muscle mass, big guys, right? But they're massive and they have a lot of health issues because all that muscle still puts on extra size in your joints and everything like that, and still makes you work overtime with your internal organs, your lungs, your liver, your heart, and everything like that. So yeah, lifting weights is good. You should be lifting weights, but let's not use that as like a health marker or anything like that, because you can be really fucking big and jacked, but still be unhealthy as fuck because you can't run down the road, or you can't walk that far and everything like that.
My name is Carrie. I'm a personal trainer
Hey,
and a
Carrie.
powerlifter who lives 4 days a week, and this is what
That's
my
good.
body looks like. Which means that when I post my workouts on social media, most people assume I'm just starting my fitness journey.
I mean, that's the thing. People will assume that because when you're that big, people are like, oh, they're just hitting gym for the first time, they're losing weight. Which is, to be honest, I think it's a fair enough assumption, right? Because when you see an overweight person or someone like this big, you don't tend to think that this person has been doing this for years. Because generally, when people go for a personal trainer and everything like that, they go for someone who looks seasoned, someone who looks like they're fit, someone who looks like they're healthy, someone who practices what they preach. And if you have someone who's like overweight and is a personal trainer, and you can see that they're not really practicing what they preach, and they're not really practicing health and fitness and everything like that. Let's be fucking for real. Again, she's probably a lovely person. And I'm not trying to come for her specifically. This is just a thing in general when it comes to kind of like overweight personal trainers that I don't necessarily kind of agree with. And I can kind of understand why people are a bit like, okay, maybe this person's just starting out.
I've been working as a fitness professional for 5 years now, and that part still rubs me the wrong way. Because there are so many people in larger bodies moving their bodies regularly and accomplishing their goals in the gym, and they'll always be seen as a beginner because the size of their body hasn't dramatically.
But that's the thing. You would think after 5 years, you would have at least had some sort of change, right? I have changed drastically over the course of 2 fucking years, okay? 2 years ago, I was 150 kilos, which is like 320, 330 pounds or something like that. And I'm now 93 kilos, which I don't know what that is in pounds, so I'm just going to have to whack it up on the fucking screen for you lot. I didn't want to kind of bring this up to compare or say that I'm better than this person or anyone else that is bigger or anything like that. I just wanted to kind of bring it up to show you my experiences and what I have managed to achieve in 2 years and what anyone can achieve in 2 years.
Changed. But hey, maybe if I keep showing up on your timeline, you'll recognize that someone's size does not actually determine.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of does, though. Again, like I said, yes, you're doing all this weightlifting, which is cool. Everyone should weightlift and everything like that. But you are not very fit if you're just lifting weight. In general, fitness is like overall health, right? It's a combined total of everything, your muscle mass, like lung capacity, blah, 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 all these different factors. It isn't just how much muscle mass you have or how much you weight lift. I know a lot of people like to point out, oh, just because you're skinny or you're smaller, it doesn't mean you're healthy either. And yeah, that's completely true. Believe it or not, that is also true. But however, I would say that someone who is in like a normal kind of BMI range, body fat ratio, is a lot healthier than someone who is the high end of BMI, massive body fat percentage. Someone who's 30-40% body fat percentage, you're not very healthy. Let's be for real. Again, I think true fitness encapsulates everything. It encapsulates your ability to move around, run around, do all this shit unimpeded and everything like that. Not just how much you lift or how many times a week you lift or how much weight you lift or everything like that. Muscle mass is great for health, right? Okay, muscle mass is amazing. And especially if you're like a woman and you're getting older and everything like that, muscle mass is very, very imperative to have because you start to become like osteoporotic in like your 40s and 50s. It means your bones break a lot easier because your bone density drastically goes down as like an older woman. So if you resistance train quite a few times a week, there's a high likely chance you're going to alleviate that or just completely kind of remove that until you get much older, right? Okay. So definitely building muscle has a lot of fucking health benefits, but having muscle mass and lifting weights doesn't necessarily mean you're healthy, right? Again, like I said, if you can barely walk that far, if you can't really sprint, then you're definitely not very fit. Let's just be for real. Do you know what? I think that's everything I've got for today. We went through quite a few clips. We disagreed with like a 99% of it. Hopefully some of my points made sense and everything like that. I'm a bit of a fucking rambler, if I'm being honest. So if you stuck along this much and you agree and everything like that, and you like what I had to say, and even if you don't like what I had to say, leave a comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. But yeah, anyway, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. Again, it really helps out the channel, the growth and everything like that. Because again, YouTube has been absolutely blasting me up the rear at the moment. They haven't really been pushing any of my videos through. I'd be lucky if I get like 500 views. But yeah, I really appreciate you making it all the way through. Take care of yourselves. Have a good day, and I'll see you later. Hopefully see you in the next one.